Welcome to Audio Mentors, the channel where we explore the most transformative ideas from books that are changing lives. Today we begin an exciting journey through Zero to One, a book written by Peter Thiel, co-founder of PayPal, where we will learn how to create something truly unique and lasting in the world of business and innovation. If you haven't done so already, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and like this episode. That way you'll stay up to date with all the content designed to inspire you and help you build the future you desire. Chapter 1. Introduction, From Zero to One and the Importance of Creating Something Unique. Peter Thiel introduces us to this book with an idea that challenges traditional thinking. True progress doesn't come from improving what already exists, but from creating something new. This process, which he calls going from zero to one, is what defines authentic innovation. While copying what already exists, going from 1 to n, only replicates the known, creating something unique, going from 0 to 1, requires a different vision and out-of-the-box thinking. Thiel describes it as the act of building a future that does not resemble the past. He asks fundamental questions for anyone aspiring to innovate. What truths do you know that no one else sees? What idea or solution are you willing to explore that others consider impossible? These questions not only challenge you to think differently but also prepare you to identify opportunities others have overlooked. Thiel reminds us that the great innovators in history didn't just improve existing things. Steve Jobs, when creating the iPhone, didn't compete with existing phones. He reinvented how people interact with technology. Elon Musk didn't settle for traditional cars. He challenged the automotive industry with Tesla, proving that electric vehicles could be exciting and sustainable. The book encourages us to move away from the mentality of imitation and competition to embrace a more creative and ambitious vision. The central idea is simple but profound. The future belongs to those who dare to build it, not to those who only copy it. Peter Thiel also emphasizes the importance of thinking long-term. In a world where many focus on immediate gains, true innovators plan to create something that will endure. This applies not only to tech companies but to any field where you can contribute a unique solution. Going from 0 to 1 is an act of bravery but also of deep understanding. It's not enough to be different for the sake of it. You must provide real value by solving problems that others haven't seen or haven't been able to address. Initial reflection. The idea we start with in this book is that anyone in any field can innovate if they dare to think differently and act with intention. Going from 0 to 1 is not an easy process, but it's the only way to achieve something truly extraordinary. Chapter 2. The Challenge of the Future. Peter Thiel poses a fundamental question. How do we imagine the future? Most people assume that tomorrow will simply be an extension of what we live today, but Thiel insists that this thinking is limited. If we truly want to advance, we must learn to imagine and build a future that is radically different, more innovative, and full of greater opportunities. Conventional thinking versus visionary thinking. In today's society, it's common to adopt a pragmatic, short-term approach. Improve what already exists, solve immediate problems, or simply follow the path others have already laid out. This conventional thinking, though useful, is not enough to achieve meaningful change. Thiel invites us to adopt a visionary mindset. This means looking beyond the obvious, challenging prevailing ideas, and daring to create something entirely new. Thinking about the future not as a series of probabilities, but as an opportunity to design it. In Thiel's words, the future is not written, it is a blank page waiting to be built. This visionary mindset involves setting aside conventional assumptions and asking ourselves how we can change the world, not just adapt to it. Horizontal progress versus vertical progress. To understand how we move forward, Thiel distinguishes between two types of progress. Horizontal progress. Globalization. This type of progress involves replicating and expanding what already exists. For example, taking products or services that work in one country and bringing them to other markets. It's useful because it makes resources and ideas more accessible, but it doesn't introduce anything truly new. It's the equivalent of copying something functional and applying it on a larger scale. Vertical progress. Technology. This is where true innovation happens. Vertical progress is about inventing something that has never existed before, changing paradigms, and redefining the way we understand and do things. This type of progress, which leads to creating something from scratch, is what Thiel describes as going from 0 to 1. For example, while globalization may bring existing computers to developing countries, Vertical technological progress was what allowed those computers to exist in the first place. The danger of stagnation. Although we live in an era that prides itself on being innovative, Thiel warns that many industries have fallen into the trap of competing in saturated markets, only marginally improving what already exists. This creates an illusion of progress, but in reality it stagnates us. Technological innovation, according to Thiel, is what truly drives humanity forward. However, many companies are more interested in copying what already works, competing in established markets, rather than daring to explore new frontiers. This lack of ambition to innovate is dangerous because it limits the possibilities for progress. The message here is clear. Without innovation, there is no true advancement. The only way to create a better future is to dare to think disruptively. Key questions to imagine the future. To help us think about a future we can build, Thiel poses questions that challenge conventional thinking. What important problems have yet to be solved? What needs or markets have been overlooked or underestimated? What fundamental truths do you consider essential that others do not recognize? Answering these questions not only helps you find hidden opportunities but also forces you to adopt a mindset that values originality and innovation. Thiel argues that great inventors and entrepreneurs start with these questions because they allow them to look beyond the obvious. The value of big ideas. Thiel emphasizes that great companies and inventions always start with a great idea. However, these ideas are not always obvious or popular at the time they emerge. In fact, they are often rejected or underestimated because they challenge the known. For example, when Elon Musk decided to bet on electric vehicles with Tesla, many doubted their viability. However, Musk did not see electric cars as a mere improvement over traditional cars, but as a necessary revolution for the automotive industry. This type of bold and unconventional thinking is what makes the difference between a follower and a true innovator. Thiel reminds us that building the future requires more than creativity. It requires the courage to face uncertainty and initial resistance. Reflection on the future. The central idea of this chapter is that the future is not something that simply happens. It is something we build. Creating a better future requires vision, courage, and a mindset that is willing to challenge the status quo. Thiel encourages us to be active builders of the future, not mere observers. The challenge he leaves us with is to reflect on how we can begin to build something that truly makes a difference not just for ourselves but for the generations that follow. What steps can you take today to start creating something unique and valuable? Chapter 3. Globalization versus Technology, Two Forms of Progress. Peter Thiel introduces a fundamental contrast in this chapter: globalization and technology. Both are forms of progress, but they are deeply different in how they drive development and change in the world. While globalization focuses on expanding what we already know, technology aims to create what does not yet exist. This chapter explores how these two forces shape the future and what we can learn from their differences. Horizontal and vertical progress in action. Thiel clearly defines the two forms of progress. Globalization, horizontal progress. Globalization involves taking existing technologies to new markets. It is the replication and expansion of ideas and products that have already been tested. For example, bringing fast food chains or conventional cars to developing countries is globalization. This approach increases the availability of resources but does not introduce anything new. Technology, vertical progress. Technology, on the other hand, represents innovative progress, creating something completely new that has never been seen before. It's the step from 0 to 1, where original ideas drive significant advances. Inventions like electricity, airplanes, or the internet are clear examples of technological progress. Thiel argues that humanity needs both types of progress, but technology is the transformative force that drives the most significant changes. Globalization, a finite resource. Thiel warns that globalization has its limits because it operates within existing resources. For example, if more countries adopt mass consumption, we will face problems related to environmental sustainability and the finite resources of the planet. However, technology offers solutions to overcome these limitations. Instead of simply expanding the use of current resources, technology can create new ways of production, consumption, and storage that are more efficient and sustainable. An example is how vertical farming, a technological advancement, can address the issue of land scarcity by allowing food to be grown in reduced urban spaces. The importance of technology for a better future. Thiel insists that technology is not just a luxury, but a necessity for addressing the world's great challenges. Issues like climate change, resource scarcity, and pandemics cannot be solved simply by expanding what we already have. Technological solutions are needed to transform our capabilities and push the boundaries of what is possible. Technological progress benefits not only developed countries but can also bridge gaps between nations, providing access to solutions that were once considered unreachable. For instance, mobile phones have brought communication and information to remote communities, something that would not have been achieved with just globalization. Globalization without technology. A limited future. Thiel argues that if we rely solely on globalization without fostering technological innovation, we will eventually face limited growth. In a globalized world without significant technological advancements, we would merely be replicating the same systems, facing the same problems but on a larger scale. This is evident in sectors like transportation. If we only expand the use of fossil fuel-powered cars globally without innovating in cleaner technologies, such as electric vehicles or autonomous transport, we will increase pollution and accelerate the climate crisis. Technology, a tool to transform the world. The impact of technology goes beyond solving problems. It also redefines how we understand and experience the world. Thiel explains that the most successful tech companies do not just introduce products. They change the way we live. For example, companies like Amazon have transformed the way we shop, while SpaceX is revolutionizing space exploration, opening possibilities for humanity that once seemed like science fiction. Technological progress has a multiplier effect. A single innovation can trigger a series of changes across multiple industries and improve the lives of millions. The key lesson: we need both forces but in balance. Thiel does not dismiss globalization. He acknowledges that it is essential for making the most of existing technologies. However, he emphasizes that true progress comes from combining both forces. Globalization can spread innovations worldwide, but it is technology that generates the new ideas worth globalizing. The challenge for innovators, entrepreneurs, and leaders is to find a balance between these two forces, ensuring that technology continues to lead the way in overcoming current limits. Reflection on progress. Thiel closes the chapter by reminding us that true progress is not automatic. It requires intention and effort. Globalization and technology offer powerful tools, but it is up to us to use them to build a better future. The question we must ask ourselves is, are we creating solutions that truly transform the way we live, or are we simply replicating what we already know? This chapter leaves us with a clear idea. Globalization expands the world, but technology reinvents it. If we want to build a future that is not only sustainable but exciting and inspiring, we must focus on advancing technologically while using globalization as a means to share those advances with the entire world. Chapter 4. Startup Thinking: Creating Something New. Peter Thiel describes startups as the perfect vehicles for transforming innovative ideas into reality. In this chapter, he explains why startups are the engine of innovation and how their unique mindset can challenge traditional structures to create something truly new. More than small businesses, startups are ambitious experiments designed to change the world. What is a startup? Thiel defines a startup as a group of people dedicated to solving a difficult problem with an innovative solution. Unlike traditional companies, startups focus on creating something completely new rather than improving what already exists. Their goal is not to compete in established markets but to build their own space where they can thrive as creative monopolies. A startup does not just seek rapid growth, but sustainable growth by solving problems that truly matter. This requires a combination of long-term vision, innovative strategies, and the ability to take calculated risks. The focus on creating something new. For Thiel, successful startups begin with a key question: what can I create that doesn't exist yet? This focus on innovation distinguishes startups from companies that simply replicate proven models. Instead of entering saturated markets, startups seek to open new horizons. An example Thiel mentions is the creation of PayPal. Instead of competing with traditional banking systems, PayPal reinvented the way people transferred money online, solving a problem that no one else had effectively addressed. The risk of following the crowd. Thiel warns about the danger of falling into what he calls the herd mentality. Many companies, even startups, end up competing in the same markets because they follow popular trends instead of identifying unique problems. This approach leads to market saturation with similar products and destructive competition. True innovation, according to Thiel, requires independent thinking and challenging accepted ideas. Asking yourself what you can do differently and how you can solve problems from a new perspective is what will allow you to stand out. The advantages of startups. Thiel identifies several reasons why startups are the best vehicle for innovation. Flexibility. Startups are small and agile, which allows them to quickly adapt to changes and experiment with new ideas. Focus. Being formed by small teams, startups can intensely focus on solving specific problems without the distractions common in larger companies. Risk mindset. Startups are designed to take risks that more established companies avoid. This allows them to explore uncharted territories and seek radical solutions. Collaborative culture. The members of a startup are usually deeply aligned with the company's mission, which fosters a culture of teamwork and creativity. The role of founders. Thiel emphasizes that founders are crucial to the success of a startup. The founder's vision and determination set the tone for the company's culture, goals, and strategy. A good founder not only has a clear idea of what they want to achieve but also the ability to inspire others to join their mission. However, Thiel warns that founders must avoid excessive ego. While confidence is essential, the best startups are led by people who prioritize the mission over their personal recognition. Long-term planning in startups. Despite their flexibility, Thiel insists that successful startups need a clear plan from the beginning. This does not mean predicting every detail but having a solid vision of what they want to achieve and how they plan to get there. Long-term planning helps startups stay focused and avoid unnecessary distractions. For example, a startup developing a new technology must have a clear strategy for marketing it, educating the market, and building a loyal customer base. Without this focus, even the best ideas can fail. The balance between vision and execution. Thiel explains that a successful startup needs to balance two key elements. Vision. The ability to imagine a different future and work towards building it. Execution. The ability to turn that vision into a practical reality through concrete, consistent actions. Startups with a clear vision but no execution often get stuck in the idea phase. On the other hand, those that focus too much on execution without an innovative vision end up competing in saturated markets. The importance of creative monopolies. Thiel argues that startups should not aim to compete directly with other companies. Instead, they should work to create something so unique that they are the only ones capable of offering it. This type of creative monopoly not only ensures financial success but also drives progress by introducing something new to the world. An example Thiel mentions is Google, which didn't just compete with other search engines. Instead, it developed a product so superior that it practically created its own market, becoming a monopoly in that space. Key reflection. Startups are much more than simple businesses. They are tools for transforming ideas into world-changing realities. Thiel leaves us with a fundamental question. What can you create that is truly unique and valuable? This chapter reminds us that the key to startup success is not competing but innovating, building something new and leading the future. Chapter 5. Lessons from the dot-com bubble. In this chapter, Peter Thiel reflects on the lessons learned during the technology bubble of the late 1990s. This period was marked by the rise and fall of many tech startups that promised to change the world but largely failed due to fundamental mistakes. Thiel uses these experiences to identify key principles for companies to follow for success instead of falling into the same traps. The tech bubble. An overview. The dot-com bubble was a phenomenon where thousands of tech companies emerged with big promises but little or no substance behind their business models. Overinflated optimism and valuations led to a surge in investments, but many of these companies collapsed when faced with the reality of the market. Thiel explains that while technology offered genuine potential, the problem was that many startups prioritized rapid growth over creating real value. Great ideas don't work if they're not backed by solid execution, he states. The wrong lessons from the bubble. After the collapse of the dot-com bubble, many companies and entrepreneurs adopted the wrong lessons, which Thiel classifies into 4 common beliefs. Avoid big visions. After the collapse, startups began to avoid ambitious ideas, focusing on incremental improvements instead of radical transformations. Thiel argues that this approach limits innovation and prevents companies from exploring new frontiers. Better to focus on the product than on sales. Many companies embraced the belief that a good product would sell itself. However, Thiel emphasizes that even the best ideas need effective marketing and distribution strategies to succeed. Slow and steady growth. While the obsession with rapid growth contributed to the downfall of many companies, Thiel warns that avoiding aggressive growth is not the solution. The key is to balance growth with a sustainable business model. Avoid risk at all cost. The fear of failure led many entrepreneurs to avoid taking risks. However, Thiel points out that real progress requires taking calculated risks, especially when it comes to technological innovation. The right lessons. What really matters? Thiel proposes a series of principles that companies should adopt to avoid the mistakes of the past and build lasting businesses. Focus on creating unique value. Instead of competing in saturated markets, startups should work on solving problems that no one else is addressing. This not only makes them more attractive to customers but also reduces direct competition. Build a sustainable business model. Thiel emphasizes that successful companies do not rely solely on external investments but generate real revenue from the start. A business that cannot sustain itself in the long term is just a risky bet. Balance product and sales. A great product doesn't guarantee success if people don't know it exists. Thiel explains that a solid marketing and sales strategy is just as important as the product's quality. Choose markets carefully. Many startups fail because they try to enter markets that are too large or competitive. Thiel recommends starting with small, specific markets where you can dominate and then expand from a position of strength. Practical examples of success and failure. Thiel analyzes concrete examples of companies that thrived by avoiding the mistakes of the bubble, like Facebook, and others that failed due to not building sustainable models, like Pets.com. These stories illustrate the importance of combining a clear vision with solid execution. For example, Facebook didn't launch to conquer everyone immediately. It started as an exclusive social network for college students, dominated that niche, and then gradually expanded, leveraging its position to conquer broader markets. The obsession with unfounded growth. During the dot-com bubble, many companies focused solely on rapid growth without worrying about profitability. Thiel criticizes this mentality and argues that growth is only useful if it's backed by a business model that generates real revenue. Startups should not chase superficial metrics like active users or website visits if they don't have a clear strategy to monetize that growth. The value of differentiation. One of the most important lessons Thiel draws from the bubble is the importance of being unique. The companies that thrived after the collapse didn't just survive because they had good products. They thrived because they offered something that no one else could offer. This focus on differentiation is what allows startups to avoid destructive competition and build creative monopolies. Key reflection. The collapse of the dot-com bubble was an expensive lesson for the world of startups. It reminds us that success is not just about great ideas or rapid growth, but about building sustainable businesses that create real value for customers. Startups should not fear big visions, concludes Thiel, but they must ensure they execute them with intelligence and sustainability. Chapter 6. Competition versus Monopoly. In this chapter, Peter Thiel addresses one of the most controversial concepts in his book. Monopolies are good and competition can be destructive. This idea challenges the traditional belief that competition is essential for a healthy market. Thiel argues that the most successful companies don't compete in saturated markets but dominate their own space as creative monopolies. Why competition isn't always positive. From a young age, we are taught that competition is good. It motivates us, improves the quality of products, and benefits consumers. However, Thiel points out that excessive competition can lead to a destructive race, where companies focus on defeating each other instead of innovating. When companies compete intensely, they devote their resources to small adjustments or survival strategies, rather than seeking new and disruptive solutions. This approach limits progress and reduces the room for creativity. An example Thiel mentions is the commercial airline market, where fierce competition leads to low prices and minimal profit margins, leaving little space for innovation. The superiority of creative monopolies. On the contrary, Thiel argues that monopolistic companies are the ones that truly drive progress. Creative monopolies are not those that eliminate their competitors unfairly, but those that offer something so unique that they have no real competitors. A monopoly not only generates more profits for the company but also drives innovation. Without the concern of immediate competition, These companies can reinvest their resources into research, development, and the continuous improvement of their products and services. Examples of creative monopolies include Google, which dominates the search engine market, or Amazon, which has set a unique standard in e-commerce. These companies are not just leaders in their markets but also redefine the rules of the game. What makes a creative monopoly unique? Thiel identifies 4 key characteristics that allow a company to build a creative monopoly. Proprietary technology. A technological innovation that is at least 10 times better than any existing alternative. This creates an insurmountable advantage over competitors. An example is Google's search algorithm in its early days, which was revolutionary compared to other search engines. Network effects. A product becomes more valuable as more people use it. This creates natural barriers to entry for new competitors. Social networks like Facebook are clear examples of this. Economies of scale. As a company grows, it can reduce its costs and increase its margins, making it harder for competitors to catch up. Amazon, with its massive logistics and distribution infrastructure, is an example of this. Strong brand. An identity that generates trust and loyalty among consumers. Apple is a perfect example. Its brand represents quality, innovation, and design, which allows it to maintain premium prices in the face of cheaper competitors. Destructive competition versus productive monopolies. Thiel explains that competing in saturated markets can lead to what he calls destructive competition. Instead of creating value, companies in these markets spend all their resources fighting to survive. This not only affects companies but also consumers, as it limits the ability of companies to innovate and offer truly new products. On the other hand, productive monopolies are those that create lasting value. They don't seek to eliminate competitors, but rather to build something so unique and valuable that they simply have no direct competition. How to build a creative monopoly. For Thiel, the path to a creative monopoly begins with identifying a small market where you can be dominant. Instead of trying to enter a massive market from the outset, startups should focus on specific niches they can control and then gradually expand from there. Thiel uses the example of Amazon, which started as an online bookstore focusing solely on books. Once it dominated this niche, it expanded its operations into other markets and became the e-commerce giant it is today. The myth of perfect competition. Thiel also criticizes the belief in perfect competition, which is idealized in economics textbooks. In a perfectly competitive market, prices drop until companies can barely cover their costs, eliminating profits and discouraging innovation. For this reason, Thiel argues that companies should avoid highly competitive markets and instead look for spaces where they can establish a unique position. The balance between ethics and monopoly. It is important to note that Thiel is not advocating for monopolies that exploit consumers. A creative monopoly is not an abuse of power, but a company that creates so much value that its dominance is the natural result of its innovation. The monopolies Thiel defends are those that benefit both consumers and the company by providing superior products and services that improve quality of life and redefine entire markets. Key reflection. The central message of this chapter is that true innovation is not found in competition, but in creating something unique. The most successful companies don't fight to win in saturated markets. They build their own spaces where they have no competition. Thiel leaves us with a question for reflection. What can you create that is so unique and valuable that it allows you to avoid competition and build your own future? Chapter 7. The Advantages of Creative Monopolies. In this chapter, Peter Thiel delves into why creative monopolies are essential for progress and how they benefit both businesses and society. While the previous chapter discussed how to build a monopoly, here he examines the advantages they offer and why we should aspire to create them. Why monopolies are good. Creative monopolies, according to Thiel, should not be confused with exploitative monopolies that limit competition to maximize profits at the expense of consumers. Creative monopolies are companies that, by offering unique products and services, create immense value for consumers and have an insurmountable advantage over potential competitors. Monopolies don't just dominate markets, they create them, Thiel says. This means they bring solutions that did not exist before, benefiting both consumers and overall progress. Benefits for businesses. A company that achieves creative monopoly status enjoys several important advantages. Sustainable profits. Without direct competition, creative monopolies can set prices that reflect the real value of their products or services, ensuring healthy and sustainable profit margins. Stability to innovate. Without the constant pressure to compete, these companies can reinvest their profits into research, development, and product improvements. This creates a virtuous cycle where innovation fuels growth. Leadership position. Creative monopolies have the ability to lead and define the standards of their industry. This not only strengthens their brand but also allows them to influence the future direction of the market. Benefits for consumers and society. Thiel argues that creative monopolies benefit not just businesses, but society as a whole. Some of the ways they do this include access to unique products and services. Creative monopolies introduce innovations that transform people's lives, solving problems in ways that were not previously possible. Boosting progress. These companies drive advances in multiple areas from technology to the economy, raising the standard of living and creating new opportunities. Long-term sustainability. Unlike highly competitive markets where companies are constantly fighting to survive, creative monopolies can focus on building a lasting impact. A clear example of this is Google, whose search technology has transformed the way we access information, offering unmatched value to users while continuing to invest in areas like artificial intelligence and renewable energy. The 4 pillars of a successful creative monopoly. Thiel reiterates that to maintain its position, a creative monopoly must rely on 4 fundamental pillars. Superior technology. The foundation of any creative monopoly is having a product that is significantly better than any existing alternative. 2. Network effects. As more people use a product, it becomes more valuable. This creates a virtuous circle that makes it harder for new competitors to enter. 3. Economies of scale. As a company grows, it can produce more at a lower cost, reinforcing its dominant position in the market. 4. Brand loyalty. A strong brand not only attracts customers but also creates an emotional connection that fosters loyalty and growth. The relationship between monopolies and continuous innovation. A creative monopoly cannot rest on its laurels. To maintain its position and stay relevant, it must continually invest in innovation. For example, companies like Apple not only build quality products but also cultivate a culture of continuous innovation. This allows them to stay at the forefront of technology and reinforce their creative monopoly. The difference between good and bad monopolies. Thiel makes a clear distinction between creative monopolies, which benefit society through innovation, and exploitative monopolies, which use their power to block progress and keep competitors at bay. Creative monopolies do not need to block their competitors because their advantage lies in offering something unique and irreplaceable. In contrast, exploitative monopolies focus on protecting their position through anti-competitive practices instead of adding real value. Key lessons for entrepreneurs. Thiel emphasizes that any entrepreneur should aspire to build a creative monopoly. To achieve this, one must focus on creating something that is unique and difficult to replicate, dominating a specific niche before expanding, designing a business model that allows for sustainable scaling, continuously investing in innovation to maintain the competitive edge. Key reflection. The main message of this chapter is that creative monopolies not only generate significant benefits for companies but also drive overall progress. By offering unique and innovative solutions, these companies redefine markets and improve people's quality of life. Thiel leaves us with an important question. What are you doing today to build a creative monopoly that will transform your industry and leave a lasting impact? Chapter 8. The Ideology of Competition. In this chapter, Peter Thiel analyzes how the obsession with competition has shaped both the economy and our personal lives. He argues that while we have been taught to believe that competition is always good, it can actually limit innovation, foster mediocrity, and distract us from what truly matters, creating something unique. The myth of competition. From childhood, we are taught that competition is the key to success. In school, students compete for the best grades. At work, employees compete for promotions. And in business, companies compete for market share. However, Thiel suggests that this competitive mentality can be counterproductive. Competition blinds us to opportunities, says Thiel. When we are too focused on beating others, we lose sight of how we can uniquely add value. True innovation happens when we stop competing and start building something new. How competition destroys value. Thiel explains that excessive competition leads to unnecessary wear and tear. Companies and people spend time, energy, and resources trying to outdo others instead of focusing on creating real value. This is evident in saturated industries where many companies offer nearly identical products, differentiating only in price. For example, in the airline industry, fierce competition has reduced profit margins to a minimum, limiting companies' ability to invest in meaningful improvements. Rather than innovating, these companies are forced to cut costs to survive, often harming both employees and customers. The impact of competition on startups. Thiel warns that many startups fall into the trap of directly competing with larger, established companies. This approach almost always leads to failure, as startups lack the resources to face industry giants. Instead of competing in saturated markets, Thiel suggests that startups should focus on specific niches where they can be the best. By dominating a small market, a startup can build a solid foundation before expanding into larger areas. An example Thiel mentions is PayPal. Instead of competing directly with banks, PayPal initially focused on solving a very specific problem: facilitating online payments for eBay auctions. By dominating this niche, PayPal was able to grow and eventually become a major player in the financial industry. The trap of constant comparison. Competition not only affects companies but also individuals. Thiel explains that many people spend their lives comparing themselves to others, pursuing goals set by society instead of defining their own path. For example, a student might choose a career simply because it is prestigious or to outdo their peers, rather than following their true interests. This approach leads to dissatisfaction and burnout because the person is never truly aligned with their values and passions. How to avoid the competitive mindset. Thiel offers several tips for escaping the trap of competition. Stop comparing yourself to others. Instead of measuring your success relative to others, focus on your own goals and how you can provide unique value. Look for unique opportunities. Ask yourself, what can I do that no one else is doing? Focus on problems others have ignored or underestimated. Think long-term. Competition tends to foster a short-term mindset. By planning for the future, you can make more strategic and less reactive decisions. Create a creative monopoly. As discussed in previous chapters, building a monopoly in a small market is much more effective than competing in saturated markets. The difference between competition and creation. Thiel emphasizes that creation and competition are opposing forces. While competition pushes us to work within existing systems, creation allows us to break those systems and build something new. For example, when Elon Musk founded Tesla, he did not attempt to compete directly with traditional car manufacturers in the internal combustion engine vehicle market. Instead, he built a new market for high-end electric cars, redefining what consumers could expect from an electric vehicle. The balance between competition and collaboration. Thiel is not completely against competition. He acknowledges that it can be useful in certain contexts, such as motivating people or improving product quality. However, he argues that competition should be a means, not an end in itself. The most successful companies do not just compete. They collaborate with strategic partners, foster support networks, and create shared value. This approach allows for the building of ecosystems instead of just winning individual battles. Key reflection. The ideology of competition leads us to believe that we must constantly fight to survive and thrive. However, Thiel shows us that true success comes from thinking independently, focusing on creating unique value, and avoiding the trap of constant comparison. Thiel ends this chapter with a thought-provoking question. Are you competing for a place in the existing system, or are you building something completely new? Chapter 9. The characteristics of a successful monopoly. In this chapter, Peter Thiel explains in detail the characteristics that allow a creative monopoly not only to achieve success but also to maintain its dominant position over the long term. Thiel argues that successful monopolies don't arise by accident. They are the result of strategic decisions and flawless execution. What defines a successful monopoly? A successful monopoly, according to Thiel, is not simply a company that eliminates its competitors. It is a company that creates so much unique value that it has no direct rivals. These companies don't just dominate their markets, they also shape them, setting standards and redefining what is possible. The key characteristics of successful monopolies are: proprietary technology, a technological innovation that is significantly better, at least 10 times, than any existing alternative. This not only creates a superior product but also establishes entry barriers for competitors. Network effects. The value of a product or service increases as more people use it, creating a virtuous cycle that strengthens the company's leadership in the market. 3. Economies of scale. As the company grows, it reduces its production costs, allowing it to offer better prices and higher margins than potential competitors. 4. Brand loyalty. A strong brand not only attracts new customers but also generates loyalty among existing users, making it difficult for them to switch to competing products. The importance of proprietary technology. Thiel emphasizes that the foundation of any successful monopoly is proprietary technology that is drastically better than existing alternatives. It's not enough to be just a little better. The difference must be significant enough that consumers prefer your product without hesitation. For example, Google's search algorithm was a revolutionary technological innovation that left all its competitors behind. Its technology was not only better but completely transformed the way people access information online. How network effects work. Network effects are another essential characteristic of successful monopolies. They occur when the value of a product increases as more people use it. This creates a compounded advantage that makes it harder for new competitors to enter. A classic example is Facebook, whose utility grows as more users join. The larger the network, the harder it is for competitors to attract users, as people want to be where their friends and contacts are. Leveraging economies of scale. Economies of scale allow successful monopolies to operate more efficiently as they grow. This means they can reduce their production costs while increasing their capacity to serve more customers. For example, Amazon has built such a massive logistics infrastructure that it can offer lower prices and faster deliveries than most of its competitors. This advantage not only allows it to attract more customers but also reinvest in improvements that reinforce its leadership. Brand loyalty as a barrier to entry. A strong brand is more than just a logo or a slogan. It's a representation of trust, quality, and value. Thiel argues that building a solid brand is essential for any successful monopoly because it generates loyalty among customers and protects them from competition. Apple is a clear example of how brand loyalty can create a creative monopoly. Apple consumers don't just buy products. They buy the experience, design, and innovation that the brand represents. This emotional connection makes it difficult for competitors to attract them, even if they offer similar products. How to build a creative monopoly. Thiel offers a strategy for building a creative monopoly from scratch. Start with a small niche. Instead of trying to dominate a mass market from the beginning, focus on a specific niche where you can be the best. Once you dominate that niche, you can gradually expand. Develop a technological advantage. Invest in research and development to create a product or service that is significantly better than any existing alternative. Build barriers to entry. Use features like network effects, economies of scale, and brand loyalty to make it difficult for competitors to enter your market. Reinvest in innovation. Never stop improving. Even after achieving success, keep investing in new technologies and strategies to maintain your competitive edge. The mistake of competing in saturated markets. Thiel warns that many startups make the mistake of entering saturated markets where it's almost impossible to build a monopoly. These markets are filled with competitors fighting for market share, which reduces profit margins and limits innovation. Instead of competing, startups should look for problems that no one else is solving. This allows them to carve out their own space and establish themselves as undisputed leaders in their niche. Key takeaway. The characteristics of a successful monopoly are not accidental. They are the result of strategic decisions and flawless execution. By combining superior technology, network effects, economies of scale, and brand loyalty, a company can build a dominant position that not only generates profits but also drives progress. Thiel concludes with a clear idea. Don't compete, create. Don't follow, lead. Build a creative monopoly that transforms the world. Chapter 10. The Myth of Flexibility. Why a good plan is crucial. In this chapter, Peter Thiel challenges the popular belief that flexibility and the ability to quickly adapt to changes are the keys to business success. While many startups and companies emphasize the need to be flexible, Thiel argues that having a clear plan and focusing on specific goals is, in fact, more important for achieving lasting success. The mistake of excessive flexibility. The concept of flexibility has become popular in the business world, especially in startups. Many believe that having the ability to adapt quickly to market changes is what leads to success. However, Thiel emphasizes that this mindset can be dangerous if taken to the extreme. Companies that adopt a flexible approach often end up constantly changing direction, which can dilute their focus and delay progress. Thiel makes an important distinction. It's not about being flexible. It's about being flexible only when necessary, while keeping your focus on your long-term goals. Flexibility can be useful, but it should not lead to constantly changing course without a clear reason. The importance of a clear and firm plan. Thiel argues that having a well-structured plan is essential for success. A good plan not only outlines the steps a company should take but also helps maintain focus on what really matters. Successful startups have a clear vision of the future and know what they need to do to get there. This clarity allows them to make informed strategic decisions without distractions. A good example of this is PayPal, which in its early days had a clear vision of what it wanted to achieve, enabling secure online payments. Although it faced challenges and competitors, the company stayed firm in its plan to create a robust and secure payment platform, which helped it differentiate itself from other available options. Long-term planning. Thiel highlights the importance of thinking long-term and not falling into the temptation of seeking quick fixes or immediate results. Companies that focus solely on what they can achieve quickly often lose sight of what is needed for long-term growth. The example of Tesla is relevant here. Musk and his team never settled for simply making electric cars that were only functional. They wanted to create a new way of thinking about transportation, developing a complete infrastructure that could support the electric vehicle revolution. This long-term approach allowed Tesla to overcome production issues and stay firm in its mission. The trap of perfect opportunities. Instead of simply adapting to opportunities that seem more attractive at a given moment, Thiel advises startups to focus on following their initial plan. Often, perfect opportunities arise unexpectedly and may seem like an easy path to success, but changing focus can divert companies from their original purpose. It's easy to fall into the trap of changing course every time a new opportunity appears that seems more promising, but that can disorient the company and prevent it from focusing on what really matters. The value of discipline. Thiel emphasizes that while it's important to be flexible in certain circumstances, discipline is even more crucial. Companies that have solid internal discipline are the ones that truly manage to stay focused on their goals and continue moving in the right direction. A good plan requires discipline to execute it, even when challenges arise. Discipline doesn't mean rigidity. It means having the courage to continue with what is important even when circumstances change. The key here is to be firm in what you want to achieve, but also able to make timely adjustments when they are truly justified. Learning from mistakes and adjusting the plan. Thiel also mentions that having a plan does not mean we should never adjust it. Sometimes the market or circumstances change and it's necessary to adapt. However, the ability to adjust the plan should be based on a clear analysis of the facts and not on an impulsive reaction. The key is to make smart adjustments based on data and real results, not simply changing direction out of fear or uncertainty. The most successful companies learn from their mistakes and, rather than giving up or abandoning their vision, adjust their approach to tackle new challenges. This approach allows the company to keep moving forward, even when conditions change. Reflection on the plan and flexibility. Thiel concludes this chapter with an important reflection. A good plan is not something that is easily changed, but something that is built with vision, discipline, and focus. The most successful companies are those that have a clear direction and stay firm in their purpose, adjusting their focus only when circumstances require it. This chapter teaches us that, although being flexible and adaptable can be useful, the most important thing for business success is having a clear plan and the discipline to follow it in the long run. Chapter 11. Secrets. Finding hidden opportunities. In this chapter, Peter Thiel delves into the idea that great opportunities are not always obvious. To build something truly unique and successful, it's necessary to look for what he calls secrets. Important truths that have not yet been discovered by the majority. Thiel argues that the future is full of hidden opportunities that can only be seen by those willing to question what others take for granted. The importance of secrets. Thiel defines its secret as an important truth that is either unknown or dismissed by the majority. According to Thiel, the best business opportunities come from discovering and exploiting these secrets. Instead of following what others are doing, the most successful entrepreneurs are those who find something that hasn't been discovered yet and turn it into an innovative business. Success is finding something that no one else is doing, something that has great value and can be created in a world that doesn't yet see it. This is the fundamental principle of disruptive innovation. Secrets as the foundation of innovation. Thiel argues that secrets are not just facts or technical knowledge, but also ideas or perspectives that others have not considered. For example, Google didn't just solve the search problem. It discovered how to do it infinitely more efficiently than its competitors. This secret allowed Google to dominate its market and change the way we interact with information online. Business success doesn't come from imitating what others do, but from finding a different angle, something that no one else has perceived or valued enough. Companies that leverage these secrets don't just dominate the market. They redefine the rules of the game. How to find secrets. Thiel offers some strategies for discovering these secrets, starting with asking ourselves a series of fundamental questions. What important truths do you think most people don't understand? What big problems or needs are being ignored? What areas of everyday life could be significantly improved but have not yet been considered as problems? These questions force us to look beyond the obvious and question common assumptions. Thiel highlights that the answers to these questions are often simple, but not always obvious. Often, secrets emerge when we dare to look in places where others are not looking. The belief in the impossible. Part of finding secrets is challenging what most people consider possible. The most innovative and successful ideas are often seen as impossible or unrealistic when they are first proposed. However, Thiel emphasizes that great entrepreneurs don't see these ideas as obstacles, but as opportunities to change the course of the future. One example Thiel mentions is PayPal. When the founders of PayPal started, the concept of online electronic payments was seen as impractical or unnecessary by many in the industry. However, they identified a secret. The online payment market was underdeveloped, and they created a solution that completely changed the landscape. Don't fear unpopular ideas. Thiel urges boldness and not fearing ideas that might seem unconventional. In fact, many of the most successful ideas are initially unpopular or challenging. The history of innovation is full of examples of people who followed ideas that others considered ridiculous or unfeasible. However, when these ideas proved effective, they changed the course of history. The author mentions Elon Musk, who has been criticized for his ideas of colonizing Mars and creating electric cars. However, his secrets, the belief that humanity can and should be multiplanetary, or that electric cars can revolutionize the automotive industry, have led him to create companies that are radically changing several industries. How to execute a secret. Once a secret has been found, the next challenge is executing it effectively. Thiel emphasizes that ideas alone are not enough. It's necessary to turn those ideas into something real, something that people value and need. This requires flawless execution, which is as important as the initial discovery. To execute a secret successfully, it is essential to focus on a specific problem. Don't try to do too many things at once. Establish a clear business model. It's not enough to have a good idea. You must ensure that the idea can generate revenue and grow sustainably. Build a strong culture. The vision behind the secret must be shared by the entire team from the founder to the employees, so that the execution is consistent and effective. The importance of long-term vision. Thiel also discusses the importance of having a long-term vision when discovering and executing a secret. Entrepreneurs must be prepared to invest time and effort into something that may not be recognized or understood by most in its early stages. Thiel concludes this chapter with a powerful idea. Secrets are found at the intersections of what people consider possible and impossible, in what is hidden in plain sight. The most successful entrepreneurs don't just look to the future, but have the ability to see what others haven't seen and create value from that. Key reflection. The chapter highlights the importance of seeking and discovering secrets. These secrets, which are truths unseen or underestimated by others, offer unique opportunities for innovation and change. The key is to think differently, look beyond the obvious, and have the courage to execute ideas that others consider impossible. Chapter 12. Building a solid foundation. Foundations. In this chapter, Peter Thiel focuses on the importance of building a solid foundation from the beginning when creating a startup. While much is often said about the importance of innovation or rapid growth, Thiel argues that the most successful companies are those that first focus on establishing a firm foundation that allows them to grow sustainably. Without a solid foundation, even the most innovative ideas can fail. The importance of foundations in a startup. Thiel begins the chapter by highlighting that the first decisions a startup makes are crucial for its long-term success. The initial decisions, from the company structure to the organizational culture and the first team members, set the stage for everything that follows. Without a solid foundation, any attempt at expansion or innovation is destined to be fragile. According to Thiel, the reason many startups fail is not because they lack brilliant ideas or resources, but because they were not built on a stable foundation. In this sense, companies must be prepared to withstand the pressure of the early years and solve complex problems from the start. Forming the right team. One of the most important decisions when building the foundations of a startup is selecting the right people for the team. Thiel emphasizes that a small but highly competent team is critical for initial success. A committed team that shares a common vision can be far more effective than a large organization with a dispersed structure. The author highlights that selecting the first team members should be based not only on their technical skills but also on their alignment with the company's mission. Founders should surround themselves with people who are not only good at what they do but also willing to take risks and work toward a common goal. Company culture as a foundation. In addition to the team members, Thiel stresses that company culture is one of the fundamental pillars for a successful startup. A strong culture not only defines how daily tasks are performed but also shapes how the company faces challenges and opportunities. Culture must be carefully cultivated from the beginning. Companies with strong, clear cultures are better able to maintain cohesion and adapt to changes without losing their direction. Thiel notes that organizational cultures that favor collaboration, commitment, and constant innovation are better positioned to thrive in competitive markets. Long-term strategies and vision. Thiel criticizes the approach of many startups that seek quick solutions or tricks to grow. Instead of focusing solely on short-term expansion, companies should have a long-term vision that guides all of their decisions. This means considering not only what is profitable today but also what will be relevant in the future. The author uses the example of Google, which from its early days focused on solving the fundamental problem of web search without being distracted by short-term opportunities. Google's long-term vision of organizing the world's information allowed them to create a massive infrastructure that over the years has led to global dominance in the tech sector. The importance of a solid business model. The next key aspect of foundations is having a clear and sustainable business model. Thiel argues that many startups fail because they lack a clear vision of how they will generate revenue sustainably over the long term. While ideas and products may be innovative, companies need a business model that allows for effective scaling. A solid business model not only provides clarity on how to generate revenue but also defines how the company can remain competitive in the face of new challenges. Successful startups tend to have flexible business models that adapt to growth without losing sight of their original vision. The value of patience in growth. Often, startups make the mistake of trying to grow too quickly before they are truly ready to handle it. Thiel emphasizes that gradual, controlled growth is key to successful expansion. Companies that grow too quickly without a solid foundation tend to face operational, financial, and cultural problems that can cause them to collapse. In contrast, companies that grow gradually and sustainably are more likely to build a solid infrastructure that allows them to overcome obstacles and seize new opportunities as they arise. Key reflection. The first decisions in a startup are critical for long-term success. While much attention is often given to innovation, funding, or rapid growth, companies must ensure that their foundations, the team, culture, long-term vision, and business model, are solid before taking the next step. As Thiel concludes, a great company is not built overnight. It is built with patience, vision, and a constant focus on the fundamentals. Chapter 13. The Mafia Mechanics. Small and Aligned Teams. In this chapter, Peter Thiel addresses the importance of building an exceptional and cohesive team when creating a startup. Through an interesting metaphor, he compares a successful team to a mafia, a small and extremely loyal group that shares a common purpose and works together to achieve a bigger goal. Thiel emphasizes that the best teams are not necessarily large, but highly focused and aligned with a shared mission. The importance of a small and strong team. Thiel begins the chapter by challenging the belief that a company needs a large number of employees to be successful. While some companies may require more staff as they grow, the most successful startups are formed by small, well-aligned teams. The value of a team is not in its size, but in its cohesion and the clarity of its mission, says Thiel. Instead of relying on thousands of employees, startups should focus on recruiting a group of exceptional people who share the same vision and are willing to work together to achieve it. The mafia as a team model. Thiel uses the metaphor of the mafia to illustrate how high-performing teams should operate. In this context, the mafia does not refer to a group of people involved in illegal activities, but to a small, united, and extremely loyal organization that pursues a common goal. Just like in a mafia, members of a successful team must be deeply committed to the cause, protect one another, and work together to face any challenges that arise. A team like this, although small, can be much more powerful than a large and disorganized one. Loyalty and trust within the team. One of the most important characteristics of small and successful teams is loyalty. Thiel explains that team members must trust each other completely, be willing to make sacrifices and share a common vision. Without this loyalty, the team fragments and loses the focus needed to achieve its goals. In the most successful companies, loyalty is not only present between team members but also towards the founders and the company's mission. This creates an environment where team members are willing to work beyond expectations to ensure collective success. The culture of loyalty also allows for quicker and more efficient decision-making since everyone trusts each other's judgment. The founder's role in building the team. Thiel emphasizes that as a founder of a startup, your responsibility is not only to have a clear vision but also to be the leader who builds a team aligned with that vision. A leader must be able to identify and attract the right people, create an environment of trust, and ensure that everyone on the team is committed to the mission. The founder should not see the team as a resource that just executes tasks but as an extension of their own vision. The best founders are those who inspire their team, make them feel part of something greater, and motivate them to achieve ambitious goals. The danger of large and disorganized teams. A common mistake in many startups is trying to build a large team too quickly, which can result in a lack of cohesion and focus. Thiel points out that when a team grows too quickly, communication becomes harder and decisions become slower. Instead of having a large number of employees, startups should focus on creating a small, highly qualified team that is deeply aligned with the mission. Large companies often face the problem of bureaucracy, where decision-making becomes slow and innovative ideas are lost in organizational complexity. In contrast, small and agile teams can adapt quickly to changes and make decisions much more efficiently. Organizational culture. The differentiating factor. Organizational culture is the glue that holds the team together. Thiel explains that a strong culture is essential to align the team with the company's values and mission. In a successful startup, all members must understand and live by the company's core principles. A solid culture not only fosters loyalty but also creates an environment in which team members can thrive, collaborate, and contribute their most innovative ideas. Founders must ensure that this culture is intentionally built from the start. The importance of alignment in the team. Thiel emphasizes that beyond technical skills, the alignment of team members with the company's mission and vision is what truly makes a difference. The ability of a team to work toward a common goal and overcome obstacles together is what allows a startup to succeed. An aligned team can overcome larger obstacles than a big team that is disorganized or divided, says Thiel. The real key to a successful startup is for all team members to work in harmony, share a common vision, and be willing to sacrifice for the good of the team. The mistake of searching for perfect team members. Thiel also warns that startups often make the mistake of searching for the perfect candidate for every position. However, the key is to look for people who are compatible with the mission and who are willing to grow alongside the company. The ability to learn and adapt is much more important than having a specific set of skills at the beginning. The right people for a team are not always those with the most impressive credentials, but those who are committed to the mission, humble, and willing to work as a team. Key reflection. The key to a startup success is not its size but its team. A small, aligned, loyal team committed to the company's vision is what truly drives innovation and allows obstacles to be overcome. Thiel leaves us with a powerful idea. The quality of the team is what determines the company's success. Instead of seeking rapid expansion, startups should focus on building a strong team that works together toward a common goal. Ultimately, the success of a company is in the hands of the people who make it up. Chapter 14. The product paradox. If you build it, will they come? In this chapter, Peter Thiel addresses a crucial concept for the success of startups: the relationship between product creation and its marketing. Thiel explains that many startups focus too much on building innovative products but fail to recognize that a good product alone does not guarantee success. Marketing and sales strategies are equally important to make that product reach the market effectively. The myth of "if you build it, they will come." Thiel points out that one of the most common beliefs in the world of startups is that if you build a good product, customers will come by themselves. This belief is based on the idea that the product's value will speak for itself and sales will follow naturally. However, Thiel argues that this mentality is dangerous, and even the most innovative products need marketing and sales strategies to reach their target audience. Apple's case is an important example of how an excellent product must be accompanied by effective marketing. While Apple creates products that are undeniably innovative, its success is also due to its ability to create a unique brand experience and an effective sales strategy that communicates the value of its products. The balance between product and sales. For Thiel, the key to success lies in finding a balance between creating a good product and how it is marketed. A great product can be useless if it doesn't have the visibility needed to reach the right customers. Likewise, a successful marketing strategy has no value if the product doesn't meet customer expectations. A good product needs to be backed by an effective sales strategy, explains Thiel. Without a proper marketing strategy, the best products can go unnoticed, losing their opportunity to impact the market. The sales approach from the start. Unlike traditional companies that can build a solid customer base through established channels, startups need to be much more creative in their sales approaches. Thiel recommends that from the start, startups focus on developing a unique and scalable sales channel that allows them to reach their customers effectively and cost-effectively. This sales approach should be an integral part of the plan from the early stages of the company, not just after the product is ready. Companies that wait until the product is finalized to think about sales tend to waste time and opportunities. Instead, an effective sales strategy should be thought of in parallel with product development, ensuring there is a clear path to attract customers once the product is available. How to build an effective sales strategy. Thiel offers several practical tips on how startups can build an effective sales strategy. Start with a small niche. At the beginning, a startup should focus on a specific segment of the market where it can dominate before attempting to expand. This approach allows for the creation of a loyal customer base that can later help attract more customers through recommendations. Make early customers evangelists. The first customers are crucial to the success of any product. If the first users have an exceptional experience, they will not only continue to buy, but they will also become brand advocates, facilitating exponential growth. Collecting feedback and iteration. Startups must be willing to listen to their early customers and use their feedback to improve the product and sales strategy. This iterative approach ensures that the product is not only good but also meets the real needs of the market. 4. Create a repeatable sales model. As the startup grows, it must develop a sales model that can be easily scaled. This means identifying the tactics that are actually working, optimizing them and replicating them to reach a wider audience. The danger of relying only on technology. Thiel highlights that while technology plays an important role in creating innovative products, relying solely on technology without considering sales and marketing can be a recipe for failure. Many tech startups fall into the trap of thinking their technology will speak for itself. However, an outstanding product does not guarantee customer adoption, especially in a competitive market. A key example is Zynga, which developed innovative games for Facebook but failed to establish a solid sales strategy, resulting in decreased user engagement and a drop in revenue. The importance of a strong sales team. While startups may start with a direct and personal approach to selling their products, Thiel emphasizes the importance of building a competent sales team as the company grows. A sales team should be aligned with the company's values and have a deep understanding of both the product and the market in which it operates. This team should not only be responsible for generating revenue but also for understanding customer feedback and ensuring the product evolves in the right direction. Without a well-trained and focused sales team, even the best product can go unnoticed. Key reflection. Thiel concludes this chapter by highlighting that a great product alone is not enough. The creation of a product must be accompanied by an effective sales strategy that ensures the product reaches the right customers and has the desired impact. Ultimately, success lies in the ability to connect innovation with market demand. As Thiel says, if you can't sell what you've created, it doesn't matter how good the product is. The key is how you make the world see it and value it. Chapter 15. The Future, Humans and Machines Working Together. In this chapter, Peter Thiel explores the relationship between technology and humanity, arguing that the future is not about a struggle between humans and machines, but about how we can use technology to improve human life and solve global problems. Thiel discusses how machines can complement human skills, and how collaboration between the two can lead to unprecedented advances in all fields. The myth of artificial intelligence replacing humans. Thiel begins the chapter by debunking the widespread fear that machines will replace humans. Many people fear that advances in artificial intelligence, AI, and automation will eliminate many human jobs, but Thiel argues that this view is misguided. Machines won't replace humans, they'll enhance our capabilities, says Thiel. Machines can perform repetitive and complex tasks more efficiently than humans, but this frees people to focus on what they truly excel at: creativity, complex decision-making, and solving human problems. Collaboration, not competition. Thiel emphasizes that true progress is made when humans and machines work together. Rather than viewing technology as a threat, we should see it as a tool to complement our skills and capabilities. A good example of this is the use of AI in fields like medicine, where machines can help doctors diagnose diseases more accurately, but always with human supervision and judgment. This approach of collaboration is also reflected in the business world. The companies that best leverage technology are those that integrate machines into their workflows in ways that enhance human skills, not replace them. Companies that promote collaboration between humans and technology can harness the best of both worlds, improving productivity and innovation. The integration of AI into human work. Thiel explains that the advancement of artificial intelligence does not mean humans must lose their jobs. It means the creation of new and more interesting jobs. Machines can take on routine and manual tasks, while humans can focus on activities that require critical thinking, creativity, and empathy, qualities that machines still cannot effectively replicate. The key to the future workforce is education and training in technological skills, so that humans can work alongside machines instead of being displaced by them. Thiel believes that education must adapt to prepare people for this new kind of collaborative work, where technological skills will be essential, but creativity and human judgment will remain irreplaceable. The impact of technology on society. Thiel also discusses how technology can have a positive impact on society by solving global problems that once seemed insurmountable. Many of the most important solutions we need to tackle global challenges such as climate change, poverty, and pandemics can only be achieved through collaboration between humans and technology. For example, emerging technologies like renewable energy, biotechnology, and artificial intelligence offer solutions to many of humanity's most critical problems. If implemented correctly, they can improve people's quality of life, create jobs, and reduce global inequalities. The importance of long-term vision. Thiel emphasizes that to harness the potential of human-machine collaboration, we must have a long-term vision. Technological progress should not just be a reaction to immediate problems but part of a conscious and well-planned effort to improve society as a whole. Technological advancement must be accompanied by ethical reflection on how new technologies are used. Thiel stresses that progress should be driven by a clear purpose and an understanding of the impacts these technologies will have on human life, both positive and negative. The future of humanity. The unlimited potential of technology. Thiel concludes this chapter by reflecting on the limitless possibilities that technology offers humanity. Technology is not a threat. It is our most powerful tool to improve our lives and transform the world. If we use technology responsibly and with vision, we can address the world's greatest challenges and create a fairer and more prosperous future for all. The key is not to see technology as a replacement for humans, but as a companion that amplifies our capabilities and allows our most ambitious ideas to come to life. Key reflection. This chapter leaves us with a fundamental reflection. The future will not be defined by the competition between humans and machines, but by how we use them together to create innovative solutions and transform the world. Collaboration between humans and technology is not only possible but essential for facing the greatest challenges ahead. Chapter 16: Sustainability and Environmental Impact. Going Green. In this chapter, Peter Thiel addresses a crucial issue for future startups: sustainability and environmental impact. While technological innovations may seem focused solely on growth and economic benefit, Thiel argues that creating successful businesses should also consider their impact on the environment and society. As the world faces increasingly severe environmental issues, startups have the opportunity and responsibility to be an active part of the solution. The importance of sustainability in startups. Thiel begins this chapter by highlighting that sustainability should not be seen as an obstacle to business growth but as an opportunity to create innovative solutions. The best companies of the future will not only focus on being profitable but also on how they can have a positive impact on the world, says Thiel. Sustainability is not just about meeting environmental regulations. It's a mindset that should be integrated into each company's business model. The idea that sustainability and economic growth are mutually exclusive has been a common belief, but Thiel challenges this notion. Instead of seeing environmental problems as something that must be compensated for, he argues that companies should approach these issues as an opportunity to create products and solutions that are both profitable and responsible. The relationship between technology and sustainability. Throughout history, technological innovations have been seen as one of the main causes of environmental degradation. However, Thiel argues that technology also has the potential to be the solution to many of the most serious environmental problems. From renewable energy to sustainable agriculture and biotechnology, emerging technologies offer new ways to address environmental challenges without compromising economic progress. The best technological innovations are not only profitable, but they also help solve global problems, such as resource scarcity, climate change, and pollution, says Thiel. Startups that develop technologies to improve energy efficiency, reduce waste, and mitigate environmental impact will be better positioned to succeed in the future. The shift in mindset towards genuine green practices. One of the key points Thiel discusses in this chapter is the mindset shift needed to make startups focus on sustainability. Many companies adopt green strategies merely as a marketing tactic with little real impact. However, Thiel emphasizes that startups must integrate sustainability into every aspect of their business model, from production to distribution and consumption. This means thinking innovatively about how to produce products more efficiently, how to use resources more responsibly, and how to minimize the negative impact of business operations. Being green shouldn't just be a label. It should be part of the core of what you do as a company, Thiel explains. The case of Tesla. Innovation and sustainability. Thiel uses the case of Tesla as a key example of how companies can combine sustainability with innovation and commercial success. Through its focus on electric cars, Tesla is not only revolutionizing the automotive industry but also contributing to the reduction of carbon emissions, helping transition towards a more sustainable future. Unlike traditional car manufacturers that rely on fossil fuels, Tesla has proven that it is possible to create high-performance vehicles that are not only eco-friendly but also profitable and appealing to consumers. This business model has led Tesla to become one of the most valuable companies in the world, demonstrating that a sustainable approach is not only ethical but also economically viable. Innovation in the energy sector. The energy sector is one of the largest contributors to climate change, but it is also one of the most open to technological innovation. Thiel argues that the transition to renewable energy sources such as solar, wind, and nuclear presents a golden opportunity for startups that can develop new technologies to improve the efficiency and accessibility of these energies. Instead of focusing on fossil fuels, startups should look to the future and seek innovative ways to harness clean energy sources. Thiel calls on entrepreneurs to focus on developing new technologies that make renewable energy more efficient, affordable, and scalable. Sustainable development across sectors. Thiel not only addresses sustainability in the energy sector but also in other key sectors such as agriculture, manufacturing, and waste management. Each of these sectors holds enormous potential to benefit from technological innovation, allowing companies to reduce their environmental footprint while continuing to grow economically. For example, in agriculture, startups can innovate with more sustainable farming techniques, such as vertical farming, which can reduce the use of agricultural land and water resources. In manufacturing, companies can focus on cleaner and more efficient production processes, using technologies like 3D printing to minimize material waste. Key reflection. The key message of this chapter is that sustainability and innovation are not mutually exclusive but should go hand in hand. The startups of the future will have the opportunity to create products and services that are not only profitable but also contribute to the improvement of the environment and society. As Thiel concludes, the best startups of the future will not only change the world with their products, but they will do so in a way that is sustainable and responsible to our planet. Companies that integrate sustainability into their core will be better positioned to thrive in the long run. Chapter 17. Founders and their role in startups. In this chapter, Peter Thiel delves into the crucial role founders play in the success of a startup. Thiel argues that the figure of the founder is not only key in the early stages of the company, but their vision and leadership continue to be fundamental throughout the growth and development process. The chapter focuses on how founders should manage their leadership, make strategic decisions, and maintain consistency in the company's mission. The essential role of founders. Thiel begins the chapter by stating that founders are, in many cases, the differentiating factor of a successful startup. The founder's vision, drive, and passion are what guide the company from its early days to stability and growth. A good founder is the core of the company, Thiel explains. They are not only responsible for making decisions but also for setting the culture and strategic direction that will lead the company to success. The founder's leadership not only influences the first years but also has a lasting impact on the company's identity and decisions as it grows. The founder's long-term vision. Thiel notes that one of the main roles of the founder is to create and preserve a clear long-term vision for the startup. As a company grows, it is easy to fall into the temptation of making short-term decisions that may compromise the original vision. However, the founder must be the one who keeps the company focused on its long-term objectives. This type of leadership involves making difficult decisions, resisting the pressure to follow market trends, and staying firm in the company's mission. The vision must be a guiding force that is communicated and reinforced constantly within the team. The founder's leadership should be inspirational, not authoritarian. Thiel emphasizes that the founder's leadership should not be authoritarian or rigid, but inspirational. Founders should foster an environment where team members feel motivated, inspired, and committed to the company's mission. Rather than giving direct orders, the founder should be able to inspire trust and delegate responsibilities to key team members. The founder is the one who ultimately sets the values and expectations but should allow others to grow and take on leadership roles within the organization. The importance of maintaining a foundational culture. One of the most critical responsibilities of the founder is to establish and preserve the company's culture. From the beginning, the founder must define a culture that reflects the company's mission, values, and principles. This culture not only affects how employees interact but also how the company positions itself in the market. Thiel emphasizes that the culture must be consistent with the mission and defended at all times. A change in the company's culture can be harmful as it may dilute the founder's vision and reduce the focus and efficiency of the team. The importance of perseverance in making difficult decisions. The founder of a startup must be someone capable of making tough decisions and being persistent in the face of adversity. Startups often face enormous obstacles: lack of funding, fierce competition, operational problems, and market uncertainty. The founder must be able to stay calm, make difficult decisions, and keep moving forward despite setbacks. Thiel also highlights the importance of learning from failures. A good founder not only celebrates successes but also knows how to confront failures and learn from them. This resilience is crucial for the long-term growth of the company. The balance between innovation and control. The founder must be innovative and willing to challenge the status quo, but they must also be able to control the direction of the company. A good founder knows when to continue innovating and when to adjust the company's approach. This involves making strategic decisions based on what is most beneficial for the company in the long term. Thiel mentions that the best founders are those who maintain a balance between keeping control of the company and fostering innovation. While it is essential to allow the company to grow and adapt, it is also important for the founder to not lose complete control over the vision and core values that made the company successful in the first place. The importance of the founding team. Although the main founder plays a central role, Thiel also acknowledges that a founding team can be crucial for the success of a startup. Instead of relying solely on one person, founders should complement each other. Having a founding team with diverse skills and perspectives can improve decision-making and strategy execution. The founding team must be aligned in terms of mission and values, but each member can bring something unique in terms of experience, skills, and approach. A well-balanced founding team can tackle complex problems from different angles, increasing the chances of success. Key reflection. The chapter concludes with the statement that the founder is the cornerstone of any successful startup. The founder's role is not only to create an innovative product but also to maintain the long-term vision, preserve the company's culture, and lead the team through difficult challenges. The ability to make strategic decisions, be resilient, and delegate effectively are essential characteristics of a good founder. The founder is the heart and soul of the startup. Without their vision and leadership, the company could not thrive. Chapter 18. Avoiding Common Mistakes in Startups. In this chapter, Peter Thiel addresses the most common mistakes entrepreneurs make when building startups. Thiel explains that while startups can be complex and difficult, many of the failures stem from avoidable mistakes, which are repeated time and again in business history. Throughout the chapter, Thiel offers practical advice to prevent these mistakes and keep startups on the right path to success. Common mistakes leading to failure. Thiel begins the chapter by emphasizing that while startups are often unpredictable and face major obstacles, most failures can be attributed to certain common mistakes that entrepreneurs repeat. These include not focusing on a real problem. Many startups begin with an attractive idea but deviate from solving a real problem that has significant demand. Sometimes, companies focus too much on technology or innovation without addressing a clear market need. Growing too quickly. One of the most fatal mistakes is attempting to expand too quickly without having established a solid foundation. Rapid growth can place immense pressure on the company's resources, culture, and infrastructure. Thiel warns that growth must be sustainable and must precede good internal structure. Not building a solid team. Another common mistake is not paying enough attention to the team. A dysfunctional team can ruin even the best idea. Startups that fail to attract the right talent or create a strong organizational culture are likely to fail. Not differentiating enough from the existing market. Startups often attempt to enter saturated markets without a unique approach. Fierce competition in established markets can lead to a price war and minimal profit margins. Startups should find their niche and avoid destructive competition in mass markets. Avoiding lack of focus. Thiel emphasizes that lack of focus is one of the most damaging mistakes a startup can make. Many startups begin with multiple ideas, but by trying to address too many problems at once, they lose their clarity of purpose. True focus means concentrating on one important thing and being excellent at it. Thiel recommends that entrepreneurs focus on solving a big problem before attempting to diversify or tackle new challenges. This focus will allow them to gain traction and build a solid foundation before expanding their operations. The mistake of not building a lasting advantage. One of the most critical mistakes Thiel identifies is the lack of a lasting competitive advantage. Without a durable advantage, startups are doomed to be quickly overtaken by larger or better-funded competitors. Thiel argues that a startup must identify what makes it unique and how it can protect its monopoly in the long run. A common mistake is competing instead of creating. Startups often try to replicate what already exists instead of finding a unique solution to a problem. Thiel emphasizes that a successful company must focus on creating something new that solves problems in a way no one else is doing. Not listening to customers. Thiel also mentions that many entrepreneurs make the mistake of not listening to their customers. While startups should be driven by a vision and purpose, it is crucial that companies also pay attention to the needs and feedback of their users. Some companies make the mistake of ignoring market signals or not validating their ideas before launching them to the market. Thiel suggests that entrepreneurs should be willing to learn from their users and adjust their product as needed. Not knowing when to pivot. In some circumstances, startups may discover that the original product or business model is not working. In these cases, the ability to pivot is crucial. Thiel explains that a successful pivot does not mean abandoning the company's mission or purpose, but changing the strategy to better meet the market's needs. However, Thiel warns that pivoting should not be an excuse for lack of focus or commitment. The change must be strategic and based on a realistic evaluation of the circumstances. The importance of perseverance and patience. Another common mistake startups make is a lack of patience. Thiel explains that success in business rarely comes immediately. Startups must be persistent and resilient in the face of challenges. It's easy to fall into the temptation to give up or change direction when things get tough. Success is not something that happens overnight, but the result of continuous effort, smart adaptation and persistence, says Thiel. The value of learning from failures. Finally, Thiel emphasizes the importance of learning from failures. Failures are not the end but an opportunity to learn and adapt, he says. Entrepreneurs must be able to reflect on their mistakes, understand what went wrong and apply those lessons to future decisions. Thiel mentions that many of the most successful companies in the world, including those he has invested in, had to face significant failures before achieving success. The key is to see failure as a natural part of the growth process and not as an insurmountable obstacle. Key reflection. Thiel concludes this chapter with an important idea. Mistakes in a startup are not necessarily fatal, but the inability to learn from them is. The path to success is filled with obstacles, but entrepreneurs must be prepared to learn from their mistakes, adjust their approach and move forward with determination. The key to avoiding common mistakes is staying focused on the company's vision, building a solid team and creating a lasting competitive advantage. Only then can a startup achieve long-term success. Chapter 19. Stagnation or Singularity. The future is in your hands. In this chapter, Peter Thiel reflects on the importance of choosing between two paths, stagnation and singularity. Thiel suggests that, in the current context, companies and individuals must make conscious decisions to create a future that is truly unique and full of innovation. The key, according to Thiel, is the ability to be bold, challenge expectations and build something unique that changes the world. The stagnation dilemma. Thiel begins the chapter by discussing how humanity faces a fundamental dilemma. We can choose between the path of stagnation, where we repeat and copy what has already been done, or aspire to singularity, where we create something that has never existed before. Stagnation occurs when society settles for incremental progress and stops challenging itself. Thiel points out that stagnation may be comfortable, but in the long run, it is destructive, because it prevents us from moving toward new frontiers and leaves us trapped in repeating old solutions to old problems. The importance of singularity. On the other hand, Thiel defends the idea of singularity. Thiel advocates for the idea of singularity, which is the path toward a completely new and different future. Singularity is the moment when an idea or innovation radically changes the course of history. The key to singularity lies in creating something unique, something that has never existed before, that solves problems in a way others have not imagined. Singularity is the creation of the new, the impossible, and it is what drives human progress, Thiel asserts. This type of innovation not only brings economic benefits but also redefines the way we live, work, and think. The power of bold vision. One of the fundamental characteristics of startups and individuals who achieve singularity is having a bold and courageous vision. Thiel argues that those who dare to dream big, challenge the norms, and imagine a radically different future are the ones who have the ability to create something truly transformative. Thiel also mentions that the best innovations arise when people are not limited by what seems possible. For example, space exploration, advanced artificial intelligence, or clean energy are areas where we are still far from reaching their full potential, but in which visionaries are working to create a completely new future. The importance of optimization and long-term planning. Thiel emphasizes that to achieve singularity, creativity and vision are not enough. Long-term planning is also essential. Companies and entrepreneurs must have a clear strategy to build what they desire, because disruptive innovations do not emerge spontaneously. Instead of seeking quick solutions or following fleeting trends, Thiel believes entrepreneurs should focus on building something lasting, with a long-term vision that can change the world. This involves having a deep understanding of the problem being solved, identifying the technologies that can make it possible, and planning how to overcome the obstacles that may arise. How to escape stagnation. To avoid falling into stagnation, Thiel suggests that entrepreneurs must maintain their focus on solving truly big problems. Most companies focus on improving what already exists, but the most successful startups are looking for solutions that transform entire industries or even society. An example Thiel uses is Tesla, which is not only focused on improving electric cars but is working to completely change the automotive industry and the concept of sustainable transportation. This approach not only solves immediate problems but also redefines the future. The difficulty of choosing the path of singularity. Thiel acknowledges that choosing the path of singularity is not easy. Creating something unique and disruptive requires vision, perseverance, and an unrelenting focus on innovation. Bold ideas are often met with skepticism, and the path is often filled with challenges and failures. However, true progress, according to Thiel, can only be achieved through boldness. You cannot build something truly innovative without challenging the status quo, Thiel states. Singularity is not only possible but essential for human progress. The future is in our hands. Finally, Thiel concludes the chapter with an inspiring reflection. The future is in the hands of individuals and companies willing to take risks, challenge the known, and build something completely new. The future is not something imposed on us, but something we build with our ideas, our actions, and our willingness to be different. Key reflection. The chapter leaves us with a powerful question. Are we choosing the path of stagnation, repeating what has already been done, or are we building a unique future full of innovation and progress? The path to singularity requires courage, vision, and action, but it is the only one that can lead us to create a truly transformative world. Chapter 20. The Importance of Good Questions. In this final chapter, Peter Thiel reflects on the power of asking the right questions in the process of building companies and making decisions. According to Thiel, the key to solving the biggest problems and creating innovative companies lies in the ability to ask deep questions and not settle for superficial answers. The importance of questions in innovation. Thiel begins the chapter by stating, "The quality of our answers depends on the quality of our questions." Instead of simply following existing solutions or adopting traditional approaches, successful entrepreneurs stand out by asking questions others do not dare to ask. Asking why not, or what could be possible, is fundamental to generating truly innovative ideas. The right questions challenge conventional thinking and open up new possibilities. Thiel emphasizes that the most successful companies such as PayPal and Facebook arose from fundamental questions that challenged established norms and led to solutions no one had considered. Challenging the known. Instead of following the pre-established path, Thiel suggests that entrepreneurs should focus on solving problems that others have not noticed or dared to address. Asking difficult questions and confronting the unknown is what leads to true innovation. Thiel uses the example of Elon Musk, who asked questions that challenged both the automotive and aerospace industries. Instead of accepting that electric cars were a non-viable option or that traveling to Mars was impossible, Musk questioned these assumptions and found ways to make his ideas a reality. The fundamental questions that define a startup. Thiel explains that the most successful startups not only have an innovative idea or product, but they also ask the right questions in their early stages. Questions such as, what problem are we solving that no one else has noticed? Why has no one else tried to solve it this way? What truly makes our product unique? These questions not only help guide the company's development but also allow the identification of the unique niche that can differentiate the startup in a competitive market. Questions that challenge market assumptions. A key point Thiel emphasizes is the need to challenge market assumptions. The companies and entrepreneurs that succeed are not those who simply improve what already exists, but those who question what most consider obvious. For example, many people thought space travel was only for governments and state agencies, but SpaceX changed this assumption with a series of innovations that made space travel more accessible. Thiel argues that challenging the conventional is the foundation of any disruptive company. The importance of simplicity in answers. While asking tough questions is crucial, Thiel also emphasizes that the best answers tend to be simple. Instead of complicating things with complex solutions or technologies that require breakthroughs in multiple fields, the key is to find simple and direct solutions to big problems. Simplicity does not mean a lack of innovation but finding ways to make big ideas accessible and understandable to the world. Thiel believes successful companies have a unique ability to create solutions that are easy to understand and adopt, making them more attractive to customers and scalable in the long term. Fostering continuous curiosity. Thiel also reflects on the importance of staying curious even when a company has achieved success. Curiosity is a key driver of continuous innovation and allows entrepreneurs to stay focused on discovering new problems that need solutions. True innovation is not just a one-time process, but a constant attitude of asking questions and seeking new answers, Thiel says. As companies grow, it is essential for them to keep questioning their own processes, products, and markets to keep evolving and surpassing expectations. The questions that guide long-term success. The chapter concludes with an important reflection. The right questions not only lead to successful innovation but can also guide a startup toward long-term success. Great companies do not just solve a problem, but they ask and answer questions that have a profound impact on their industry and society. The key to creating something lasting and successful is not settling for what we know, but continuing to ask what we don't yet understand, Thiel concludes. The most successful startups are those that remain humble, keep seeking answers, and never stop challenging expectations. Key reflection. This chapter highlights the importance of questions as tools for innovation. Successful startups not only have brilliant answers, but they are constantly asking questions that challenge conventional thinking and open new opportunities. The ability to ask the right questions is what separates truly innovative entrepreneurs from those who simply follow existing trends. Chapter 21. The Future of Startups. The Importance of Monopolies. In this chapter, Peter Thiel focuses on the relevance and future of startups that aspire to become monopolies, arguing that the most successful companies are not those that compete in saturated markets, but those that create entirely new markets or dominate niches in a unique way. Thiel highlights that monopolies, far from being an anomaly or a destructive force, are essential for progress and innovation. The concept of monopoly in the modern world. Thiel begins this chapter by clarifying his concept of monopoly. Often when people think of monopolies, they visualize large corporations controlling a market unfairly. However, Thiel suggests that creative monopolies are companies that dominate their space because they offer something unique that no one else can replicate. Unlike traditional monopolies that block competition to maximize profits, monopolies created through innovation actually benefit consumers by offering superior products and services. A monopoly is not bad when it is created from a genuine innovation that is not only profitable but also transformative, Thiel says. Creating a monopoly, how it's done. Thiel explains that for a startup to become a successful monopoly, it must be able to identify a unique market opportunity, where it can offer something significantly better than any existing competition. This involves having a technological advantage like the one Google offered at its inception, or a business model that is unique and hard to imitate. A monopoly is built when the company focuses on a small niche at the beginning and dominates it before expanding. This is essential to avoid the destructive competition that occurs when startups attempt to compete in already saturated markets. According to Thiel, the best strategy for a startup is to start in a small niche and then scale once it has solidified. Monopolies and innovation. One of the most important points Thiel makes in this chapter is that monopolies are the biggest drivers of innovation. When a company has market control, it has the necessary resources to invest in research and development without worrying about immediate competition. This allows the company to keep innovating and improving its products, which benefits both the company and society at large. For example, companies like Microsoft and Google not only dominated their fields, but also created new opportunities in technology, innovation, and access to information. This monopoly advantage allowed these companies to steer the future of their industries. Monopolies in the economy. Thiel underscores that monopolies are essential for long-term economic prosperity. Without monopolies, companies compete for limited market shares and don't invest enough in innovation, Thiel explains. In contrast, a monopoly benefits from superior profitability, allowing it to invest in improving its product, entering new markets, and creating more value. When companies succeed in becoming monopolies, the value generated is not only distributed among shareholders but also benefits consumers and society by providing effective solutions to significant problems. The monopoly, rather than stifling the market, positively transforms it. The need to create value for consumers. A central principle Thiel emphasizes is that to become a monopoly, the company must create real value for its consumers. Monopolies should not be seen as entities that impose higher prices or limit options, but as companies that, by being unique, fulfill needs that otherwise would not have been addressed. Instead of focusing solely on maximizing profits, Companies that achieve monopoly status must focus on solving significant problems efficiently and uniquely, as Apple did with its products. Successful monopolies don't just make money, they create a positive impact that changes consumer behavior and redefines industries. The monopoly mindset, total dominance and focus on quality. Thiel also highlights that to build a monopoly, startups must focus on extreme quality and total dominance of their field. It's not enough to create a good product. The product must be so good that there is no significant competition. An effective strategy to achieve monopoly status is ensuring that the product is 10 times better than any existing alternative. This not only creates a significant barrier for competition but also allows the company to establish its own category and dominate it. The future of startups. Continuous innovation. Thiel concludes the chapter by reminding that the future of startups lies in their ability to create monopolies through continuous innovation. Startups must not only work on offering something better, but they must aim to revolutionize their industry. The real competitive advantage is not simply being cheaper or faster, but being unique and essential in a market where there are no substitutes. The future belongs to companies that don't just think about competing, but about creating something that doesn't exist yet, Thiel concludes. Key reflection. This chapter highlights the importance of uniqueness and innovation as the foundation for startup success. Creating a monopoly is not about dominating the market through unfair practices, but about offering something genuinely unique and valuable that redefines the market and benefits consumers. Startups aiming to become monopolies must focus on creating real value, be willing to innovate constantly, and have a clear vision to dominate their industry. Chapter 22. The Theory of the Future and Competition. In this chapter, Peter Thiel examines perspectives on the future and how startups can prepare for a future that is not limited to competition, but the creation of something unique. Thiel explores different visions of the future and how a company's ability to navigate these visions can determine its success. Throughout this chapter, Thiel emphasizes the importance of going beyond competition to focus on creation, rather than simply copying what others do. The vision of the future, beyond competition. Thiel begins the chapter by explaining that most companies focus too much on competition instead of asking themselves what kind of future they are creating. The competitive mindset, although useful for surviving in saturated markets, can be limiting as companies that focus only on beating their competitors tend to focus on small solutions and marginal improvements. True innovation does not come from competition, but from creating a new future, says Thiel. Throughout the chapter, he argues that the most successful companies are those that not only look at the present or the near future, but have an audacious vision of what the future could be, instead of merely replicating the past or improving existing ideas. The future is something that is built. Thiel emphasizes that the future is not something that simply happens. On the contrary, companies have the power to build the future. To do so, they must be proactive in identifying problems that have yet to be solved and creating solutions that define new industries. Startups that focus on creating something new have the potential to radically change society, the economy, and the market. Rather than following trends or copying what others are doing, Thiel suggests that companies should have their own vision of the future to guide and drive them toward innovation. In this context, competition is seen only as a form of survival, while creation is seen as the key to long-term prosperity. The competitive mindset and its negative impact. An important part of this chapter is Thiel's critique of the overly competitive mindset in business. While competition is inevitable in some aspects, when companies become obsessed with beating others, they lose the ability to generate something truly innovative. When you focus on competing, you miss the opportunity to create something truly unique, says Thiel. Companies that only compete are often stuck in an endless race for small margin improvements, while those that focus on creating something radically new have the chance to define their own field and become creative monopolies. Example of Google and its vision of the future. Thiel uses the example of Google as a case study of how a company can build the future instead of simply competing. From its early days, Google wasn't just competing with other search engines. It reinvented the way people interact with information online. Google's vision of organizing the world's information wasn't a response to competition, but an audacious idea to solve a global problem in a unique way. According to Thiel, this approach is what separates successful companies from those that merely survive in a competitive market. Companies should look beyond current trends and ask, how can we do something that changes the way the world works? The future and disruptive innovation. Thiel points out that to create a truly different future, companies must be willing to be disruptive. It's not about improving what already exists, but about doing something completely new that changes the rules of the game. Disruptive innovation doesn't just improve existing products. It creates new markets, redefines industries, and transforms everyday life. Disruptive innovation is what makes competitors irrelevant, says Thiel. Companies that create disruptive technologies, products, or business models can change the way markets work and, in many cases, create entirely new markets. The future belongs to the creators, not the imitators. Thiel concludes the chapter by reaffirming the central idea of his book. True progress comes from creation, not from competition. Instead of merely reacting to the business environment, companies must be the ones to create that environment and set the course for the future. Companies that look to the future, seek radical solutions, and aren't afraid to challenge conventions are the ones that will ultimately have the most significant impact. The future is not determined by circumstances but by the decisions of those who dare to create what does not yet exist. Key reflection. The central message of this chapter is clear. Companies that create the future, not just those that compete in the present, are the ones that truly make a mark on the world. The path to success lies in having a unique vision, challenging the known, and being willing to change the world through innovation. Chapter 23. The Importance of Monopolies for Progress. In this chapter, Peter Thiel delves into the essential role that monopolies play in the progress of humanity. Throughout the chapter, Thiel argues that monopolies are not inherently negative, as they are often perceived in popular culture, but are crucial for innovation and the advancement of society. According to Thiel, creative monopolies do not only make money but change the world by offering radically better and more efficient solutions than existing ones. Monopolies, the engine of innovation. Thiel begins the chapter by stating that monopolies are not only good for businesses but for society. Successful monopolies allow companies to focus on long-term innovation without the immediate pressure of constantly competing. This allows them to reinvest their profits into research and development, which in turn fosters significant advances in various areas. Successful monopolies are those that do something so well that they change the industry and improve people's lives, says Thiel. These monopolies not only dominate the market. Monopolies not only create new solutions that transform the technological, economic, and social landscape. The case of major innovations. Thiel highlights several examples of companies that have become creative monopolies and how their market dominance has allowed them to continually innovate. A clear example is Google, which not only dominated online search but, through its success, has funded projects like autonomous cars, artificial intelligence, and other technological advancements. Another key example is Tesla, which not only revolutionized the automotive industry with its electric vehicles but, as an emerging monopoly in that space, has managed to transform the energy market with products like home batteries and energy storage. This approach has allowed it to not only lead in the automotive industry but to create new categories of sustainable products. Competition and its effect on innovation. Thiel criticizes the widespread belief that competition is always beneficial for innovation. In fact, he points out that competition can lead to market saturation, where companies fight for a small slice of the market, resulting in marginal innovations rather than significant breakthroughs. Competition is not the path to innovation. True innovations arise when companies can dominate a market and work toward a long-term vision, Thiel says. True innovation, according to Thiel, occurs when companies are in a position to think beyond immediate competition and focus on radical solutions that solve large-scale problems. Creative monopoly in action. Thiel provides examples of how monopolistic companies not only benefit consumers through superior products but also create a culture of innovation. In this sense, the monopoly is not something static, but a driving force that fuels the creation of new opportunities and solutions. Startups that manage to become monopolies do not just solve an isolated problem, they change the rules of the game in their industry. Take Facebook, for example, which not only revolutionized social media but also redefined the way we interact digitally and how businesses connect with consumers. The need to dominate a small market first. Thiel emphasizes that to create a monopoly, it is crucial to start in a small niche market where a startup can truly dominate. Instead of fighting for a small piece of a saturated market, startups should focus on a specific segment that allows them to gain traction. The secret to building a monopoly is not trying to compete in a massive market right away, Thiel says. By dominating a niche, a startup can build a loyal customer base and then gradually expand into other markets, consolidating its dominance without facing fierce competition. The value of being the only one in the market. One of the biggest advantages of being a monopoly is the ability to have no direct competitors. This allows companies to set prices more flexibly, generate higher profit margins, and reinvest in innovation, creating a continuous cycle of improvement. A monopoly doesn't just mean winning the market, but controlling it in a way that it becomes indispensable, says Thiel. Monopolistic companies not only lead but define the standard in their industry, creating such significant value for consumers that no one can compete with them meaningfully. The monopoly as a positive force for society. Thiel concludes the chapter by emphasizing that monopolies are not inherently bad. In fact, monopolies that arise from authentic innovation are one of the most powerful forces for human progress. Companies that dominate their space do so because they have solved problems in a way that no one else has been able to, creating value for society and often addressing globally important issues. Monopolies don't just make money, they also drive progress on a much larger scale, says Thiel. The radical innovation that comes from monopolies not only benefits consumers but also changes industries, improves quality of life, and opens new opportunities for the future. Key reflection. This chapter reaffirms that true innovation does not come from competition but from the creation of monopolies. Companies that manage to build something truly unique and necessary for society have the power to change the world, not just by dominating a market but by creating a positive impact through their products, services, and vision. The monopoly is not the end, but the beginning of progress, Thiel concludes, emphasizing that successful monopolies have the power to transform society and guide it toward a better and more innovative future. Chapter 24. The Path to Success in Entrepreneurship. Summary of Principles. In this final chapter, Peter Thiel summarizes the key principles that entrepreneurs should follow to build successful startups. Thiel offers a practical guide on how to apply the ideas discussed throughout the book to create companies that are not only profitable but have a lasting impact on the world. The importance of asking deep questions. Thiel begins with a reflection on the importance of asking deep and fundamental questions in the entrepreneurship process. The key to creating something truly innovative lies in asking the right questions that challenge the status quo and seek answers that are not obvious. The most successful companies are not those that follow the established path, but those that ask the questions others are afraid to ask. The right questions are the starting point for all great innovation, Thiel asserts. Throughout the book, he has highlighted how the most successful startups emerge when founders dare to question the known and seek new ways to solve problems. The power of uniqueness and long-term vision. A fundamental principle that Thiel reinforces is the importance of building something unique. The best companies do not compete in saturated markets. They create something entirely new. Thiel emphasizes that startups should focus on uniqueness rather than simply improving what already exists. The future belongs to those who create something that doesn't exist and do it well, explains Thiel. Instead of obsessing over competition, entrepreneurs should focus on building a long-term vision that is different and solves problems in a unique way. The role of creative monopolies in progress. Throughout the book, Thiel has defended the idea that creative monopolies are essential for human progress. Companies that become monopolies do not do so through unfair practices but because they have created products or services so exceptional that they naturally dominate the market. Monopolies that arise from genuine innovation are the ones that allow society to progress, Thiel argues. Creative monopolies continually invest in innovation, which not only allows them to remain profitable but also drives progress across the industry. The importance of the team and organizational culture. A central point Thiel emphasizes is the importance of building a solid and cohesive team. Startups cannot survive with just a good idea. They need a team that is aligned with the company's vision and capable of executing the plan efficiently. Organizational culture also plays a crucial role, as a strong and positive culture can encourage employees to work more creatively and be more engaged. The right team is one that can adapt, learn, and work together to achieve a common vision, says Thiel. Founders must focus on building a culture that supports innovation and calculated risk-taking, avoiding the destructive competitive mindset. Thiel also offers a reminder that destructive competition can be harmful to innovation. Instead of focusing on surpassing other competitors, startups should create something that has no direct competition. By doing so, they can avoid the trap of competing for small profit margins and focus on creating meaningful value. Competition should not be the goal, but the result of creating something so good that it has no rival, says Thiel. Companies that create monopolies through innovation not only survive but thrive and define their industry. Resilience and perseverance, the key to overcoming challenges. Thiel concludes the chapter with a reflection on the resilience needed to succeed as an entrepreneur. Startups will inevitably face difficulties, but the key is to stay focused on the long-term vision and not give up in the face of obstacles. The true entrepreneur does not stop at failures, but learns from them and moves forward, Thiel asserts. Startups must be resilient, adapt to changes, and persist even when things do not go as expected. Final reflection: the future is in our hands. Thiel ends the book with an inspiring vision of the future of entrepreneurship. Rather than settling for the status quo, entrepreneurs have the ability to shape the future by creating companies that not only generate profits but also transform industries and solve global problems. The future is in the hands of those who create, not those who follow, Thiel concludes. Entrepreneurs who have the courage to think differently, question what already exists, and create radically new solutions will have the greatest impact on the future. Key reflection. This final chapter highlights that success in entrepreneurship does not only come from a good idea but from the ability to ask deep questions, build an audacious vision, assemble an exceptional team, and persevere in the face of challenges. Startups that manage to become creative monopolies and focus on disruptive innovation have the power to change the world for the better. Thank you for listening to this audiobook of 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. We hope you found valuable the ideas and concepts shared in this journey toward entrepreneurship, innovation, and the creation of creative monopolies. Remember, as entrepreneurs and visionaries, the future is in our hands and depends on our ability to create something unique that will transform the world. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to the Audio Mentors channel, where we share more audiobooks, ideas, and advice so you can continue learning and growing. Also, if it was useful, give this audiobook a like and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our audiobooks.